My name's Soweto Kinch, shouting out UKTalent show, jazz musician, MC, you know what I mean? Absolutely, I've just got back from France yesterday actually. All over the Netherlands, Italy, we've been to Sudan this year, some really interesting places. And that's one of the great things about jazz, that it's able to communicate with people whose English might not be all there. And the great thing about hip hop is that you can be so specific, you know what I mean? So I really like having that diversity, those things in my arsenal that are different. I'm happy to say the world doesn't, actually. You know what I mean? And it was a time when I was just getting into being established as a jazz musician, where I was thinking to myself, like, should I keep the hip hop side of my creativity to one side and not let them know? This is one of the most exciting points of my development. I think that, you know, I've come to a battle like this and there's a whole bunch of kids, well, I'm an old guy now, I can call them that, who weren't familiar with that hip hop side of what I do, and vice versa. A lot of, you know, kids who aren't aware of the jazz, and putting them in touch, putting the 2 or 3 audiences sometimes in touch with each other. You know, often it feels like beat makers live over in this little cave, lyricists live over in another one, and musicians are somewhere else, and battlers are here. And for me, I'm always trying to bring people together and connect them. It is important to be diverse as an artist and to be rounded, but it's also important to recognize the origins of this culture. You know what I mean? So when people stroke their chins and like jazz and hip hop, makes no sense. They're merely showing how stupid they are. Dumb little maggots. Because yeah, the origin of hip hop is reggae, it's dub, it's toasting, it's jazz, it's blues. You know what I mean? You couldn't have hip hop if it wasn't for Gil Scott-Heron, if it wasn't for Cab Calloway, you know what I mean? Muhammad Ali. These are the roots of the music, and understanding how lyrics connect to music and beat, understanding how you MC even without rhyming, how you control the crowd and you master the ceremony even without words, you know what I mean? That's all relevant. I think that's a big part of an agenda, that irrespective of just the most negative aspects of hip-hop that we all see, it's about dividing people, divide and conquer, and little tribal identities. So you're the indie kid, you're, you know, the emo dude, you're that hip-hop dude, you're not supposed to cross-pollinate, you're not supposed to, you know, have a conversation with someone who's from a different cultural background. That's part of a much wider social agenda. To just
bigger than music.
Bigger than music, and music's always a pawn in it. You know, and you only have to, I do workshops and stuff now, and hear where young people's attitude is towards it. This post-X Factor, you know, Simon Cowell reality of like, I've got to be big. It's my time to be a star, and not necessarily creating anything substantial in the process. I think someone should do something really radical, like maybe get a Canon camera, stand outside a hip-hop barrel, talk to some pretty, you know, gigantic artists. You know what I mean? But really, we're genuinely in the digital age, in the age of Vimeo, YouTube, etc., Facebook, it is about just getting the message out. Because something that's so interesting about a low-key or an Immortal Techniques is that they haven't needed the mainstream to get that traction, to get that support behind them. And we don't now, we just need the conviction and people who are passionate about the message. If that's so, I feel really sorry for them. That mindset is real lame. I mean, if you are exposed to someone that's better than you and he's your brethren, like, you put him on and it only reflects well on you. And you only have to look at the mainstream, you know what I mean, all the people who've just been dissing, to look at where that happens. Like, you have somebody relatively mediocre, let's face it, who's putting on, I don't know, some really ridiculously talented beat makers or some other rapper who's on a feature track, but it helps them shine. An extreme example, you might say David Guetta and Akon or whoever. You know what I mean? I don't think it's musically the most revolutionary shit ever, but he's built up by association. And we need that attitude of like, it's not all about me and mine, it's how do we make it us? Look at Don't Flop, you know what I mean? Look at all there's now, it feels like it's a movement, you know what I mean? It's not just one person beating their chest like, I'm the Godfather. Silly. For me, man, go to Soweto-Kinch.com. I'm doing some interesting touring things and adapting hip-hop and theatre. My latest album's called The Legend of Mike Smith. There's a video up called Invidia, I-N-V-I-D-I-A, can't even spell my own English. All about the 7 deadly sins, and look out because it's coming to the Albany in October as a full play, a hip-hop play, that's what's up.